conference room. So when we had our meeting at First United, instead of an executive session, we could have held a full open meeting there. So we can be creative about that. Also in our ordinance, it does not state, nor does Oklahoma statute state, that we have to live stream or live audio our recordings. And so I thought I would try that a little bit different too, to see if that could facilitate a different type of conversation. And then also, I know there are a lot of people that watch and that are interested and engaged, but I would, I'm interested to see if we make a position to stop videoing, if people are really engaged or interested in the industrial authority and its business, if they would come and engage and interact instead of being I want to discourage. I mean, we're moving into a season of some really neat stuff this year, and so I'd like to not encourage Facebook warriors and encourage.
They want to talk, come in person. Yeah. We haven't
Yeah.
started, Scott. We're just gabbing.
So anyway, I thought we'd try this today, so yeah.
So all of our followers, we just need to let them know.
All 50 million, right?
Yeah. Just like, hey, subscribe.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that means.
That's the young generation.
I know.
But we
You do?
are audio for transparency and accountability. We will
Really?
audio and then that will be available.
So audio will be recorded, you said?
Yes,
Okay.
so anybody can access that for transparency and accountability, and so then that can be made available.
All right, I got the thumbs up. So we'll call this meeting to order. Tuesday, January 7th. I will lead the invocation and we'll have roll call. Dear Lord God, we come to you with a lot of requests on our heart today, dear God. First of all, I want to lift up the Robinson family. I want to lift up the Durant Lions, Lady Lions, as they take the court tonight for the first time without Will. Pray for Will's dad taking over as coach. Pray for the players, give them strength and encouragement. Pray for the community to roll out tonight to support our Lions and to show the family support. Continued prayer and energy and uplifting to the rescue efforts, trying to recover Clara, just all the efforts that our friends down south in Sherman, Denison, really all over the state and Texas that are leaning in. Pray for just our folks here in Durant. Pray for 2025, the year ahead, for new energy, for new life, for opportunity. Pray that we as trustees work hard for our citizens and work hard together, collaborating with our partners. Help us to be fruitful this year and above all else, give you the praise and glory. It's in your name we pray. Amen. Roll call, please.
Trustee DeWald?
Here.
Trustee Simulescu?
Here.
Trustee Rudolph?
Here.
Trustee Tucker? Trustee Kirkendall?
Here.
Vice Chairman Newsom?
Here.
Chairman Rogers?
Here. Thank you. We have a quorum. Order of business, we'll start with consent items. Consent A, consideration and approval of corrected October 1st, 24 meeting minutes. Consider approval of the proposed schedule for 2025 and consideration and approval for December 13th. Any reason to individualize those, or do I have a motion to approve all consent items?
So moved.
If there's no objection, we'll move to vote.
Trustee DeWald?
Yes.
Trustee Simulescu?
Yes.
Trustee Kirkendall?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Newsom?
Yes.
Trustee Rudolph?
Yes.
Chairman Rogers?
Yes. Consent items have passed. Item 2, consider items removed from consent. There are none. Moving to information items. 3A's, November DIA and sales tax reports. I will turn it over to Kara.
So just a quick overview of where we sit at 41% through our fiscal year. We have a current bank balance of $382,000. Revenue in 110 for the month of November was $95,587, and year to date was $541,000. We did have one expense in 110, which was $20,000. So total revenue for account 110 was $521,841. 020 November had a revenue of $46,874.27 with a year-to-date revenue of $463,267. Expenses totaled $49,564 for the month and $425,347 year to date, for a total revenue on that account of $37,940. Pool cash balances, 110 was 4.2 million and 020 was 2.36 million. And that's all I've got for you as an overview. There are some things on there that I would like to sit with Ann Chin with and get a couple of things ironed out. But other than that, it looks like we're pretty good to go so far at this point through November on our balance sheets.
Questions, comments, any takeaways? And I'm sure Kara, on her field trip to Ann Chin's office, would welcome any other trustees that would like to sit in and learn our balance sheet and income statement. Kara, thanks for your report. Moving to 3B, Executive Director's Report. Kathy, welcome.
Thank you, Chairman Rogers.
You're welcome.
Trustees. Before I start the director's report, I would like to make a comment. Kara and I have had several conversations every month about the budget and the reports and how those come together. And you may, like she and I did today, have a question about Fund 020. On the income statement, interest earnings and the budget remaining, there's a negative number, and so what's happening there? And in summary, I did catch Ann Chin before here, and if I can explain it as simply as I can, because there's lots that Kara and I still have a hard time understanding, just to be honest with you, is that we have our bank account at First United, and then we have money that is in the general fund, and the quarter-cent sales tax stays in the general fund. And the way bills are paid and money is obligated, Ann Chin uses a tool called pooled cash, and she puts money in there so that she doesn't have to pull money from First United, that, you know, our expenses, cash flow for those expenses are accessed faster than writing a check from First United, and so it comes out of the city of Durant writes that check, and then you see that at the back of the financial report. And so several weeks ago, I asked her a series of questions, one of them being, well, how much of our money is in pooled cash? How much of that, is it the same amount that's allocated every month? And then I asked her, I said, are you earning interest on the DIA money in pooled cash? And if you are, what percentage of DIA funds is a part of pooled cash? And can you assure me that that percentage of interest earned on the total goes back to the DIA annually? And so this is a first pass of us correcting that. And so that negative is what she has shared today, that she expects the interest to be from our portion of pooled cash. So there's still some questions from that, and again, anyway. So if you have any questions or comments, or we want to have a conversation.
So does that mean we're intermingling DIA funds with city funds through this pooled cash account?
Yes, that is what that means.
Is
And
that problematic?
It is problematic, and so I asked Ann Chin over the years when that decision was made to change the direction of finances. My question to her was, you know, we have a recent interpretation of our sales tax ordinance that only that quarter cent can be used for job creation and infrastructure and land acquisition, and we were told exactly it cannot be used for salary or administration. And so can you assure me that what's happening to our interest, and has that been redistributed across the city and other funds? And so I asked her that question. And so this I don't know that question had ever been asked of the city before. And so Kara and I, again, have been working through this and working towards healthy and lawful resolve for that.
Yeah, I would hope that we have an auditor's opinion somewhere that says that is appropriate, that we're intermingling those two funds through pooled cash.
Well, the city of Durant just billed us $11,000 for the audit, and I don't know, our audit so far has passed. I expected to get called in, honestly, about the small business program, because there was 1 month into this tenure, and there was some line items that I could not reconcile, and so I was not questioned about that. And so I don't know that there's anything wrong or bad that happened. I just know I don't understand that process. So in full disclosure, I want to say I'm not worried about anything wrong or bad. If I can't understand it, then I don't know that an auditor could understand it. So I was hopeful to have a conversation about that. So with that being said, I don't know that we are going, if we were going to get a question, it would have been about those items, and we didn't get a question. So in the meantime, I can assure you that as your treasurer, Trustee Kuykendall is exploring an outside independent auditor for this next year, and then we are also having conversations about an accountant for the DIA, and maybe what a different process might look like through professional services.
Okay.
So,
Well, I wouldn't expect you to have those answers. I just appreciate the fact that you're asking those questions, and please follow up with us when you do get answers. So thank you.
Is it your understanding there's multiple funds going into the pooled cash, not just city and DIA? Are there?
yes,
all-
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. So I wanted to know what goes in there, what percentage goes in there, does it change every month? What percentage of pooled cash is earning interest? Where does that earn interest? And so hopefully that we can have those answers for the trustees. So,
Very good.
okay, so moving forward, I would just like to say good afternoon, and we're here at the start of 2025. Definitely, as Brett mentioned earlier in his prayer, with heavy hearts, recognizing that our community is grieving. There's been fire, death, loss of life, and loss of loved ones. Every one of us and everyone we meet carries a battle we know nothing about. So I want to say thank you to each of you for your service this past year and your continued commitment this next year, because it's your leadership and your service that makes a difference in this community. For it is when you see others and you serve and you're authentic that we bring back a bit of humanity and civility in a world that can feel so isolating and lonely today. Life is a team sport, and community is the remedy for sadness, and it brings life to the soul. We were made for community. And so I would say, in your role as a trustee, in the world of economic development, I hear over and over and over again that the goal is to increase wealth to the communities in which we serve. And of course, that's financial wealth in different capacities, but not necessarily the sole objective, because the work is so broad that it also means increased opportunities, a sense of well-being, and a contribution to the overall quality of life. And so hopefully, if our ideas have consequences, that your service here last year and this year, and for whatever the length of your term might be, that down the road, maybe your children or your grandchildren could look back and say, you know what, Durant, Oklahoma was the best place in the world to live and grow up. And I want my kids and my grandkids to be here. And so that's why we serve, and that's why we have economic development. And so thank you for your service. So I stand before you here today with great hope and optimism because of those consequences, and because Southeast Oklahoma is a wonderful place. And it's going to be a really great day to be in Durant this year, I promise. So with that, I want to share some data for you and give you a snapshot of our community moving into this next year. So I've shared this one data point with several of you before, but it is significant in this moment, that from 2018 to 2023, in that 5-year time range, including COVID, from start to finish, in the retail sales NAICS code that's specifically restaurants and other eating places, Bryan County grew by over 20 million in sales. And so COVID did not impact the demand for restaurants and eating places in Bryan County. And then there's something called projected demand that we can look at, and we can pull that data based on growth and what is demand accelerating or is it lessening. And I will tell you, by 2028, in that particular NICS code, retail demand for food and restaurants only accelerates, and where it was approximately 4 million a year between that 5-year time frame, by the time we hit 2028, it's a 7 million increase over the year before. So we go 5 years, 6 years, 7 year, starting 2025. So that's pretty significant. Some other data points I'd like to share with you is that if we do not count Choctaw and we only count visits and overnight stays to the city of Durant, we had over 1 million stays to the city of Durant from November 23 through November 24. And so with that over 1 million group of visitors, the total visitor spend was over 582 million in the city of Durant. And I was really curious to see where is that pool and where are people coming from. So the top 6 states that come to Durant, Oklahoma, of course, are Texas and Oklahoma, but the majority of our visitors after that are then Arkansas, Missouri, Kansas, and California. And then I wondered, well, within that spread, the top 2, Texas and Oklahoma, where are the communities, right? Where are the cities? Who is the demographic who feels like Durant is the place to be, right? And so the demographic was pretty profound to me. Of course, you've got the Dallas-Fort Worth region is number 1, and then Oklahoma City is number 2, Sherman-Denison is number 3, and then number 4, very surprising to me, is the Austin, Georgetown, Round Rock MSA, and then number 5, very shocking to me, was Houston, the Woodlands, and Sugar Land. And then number 6 is Tulsa. So it tells a lot about a community when you look at who wants to be there. And so this is our immediate tourism draw. Some other things that I thought would be interesting: the Industrial Authority, we work primarily on this side of the year with manufacturing and the creation of jobs, but retail is not just one segment. We have to look at economic development as a comprehensive approach and look across the community. And it's not just the city of Durant. It is our central business district. It is our university. It's all these things that make up how healthy our community is. And so I'd like to tell you, the Durant Walmart in the last 6 months, from May to November, outpaced foot traffic than these stores in Texas: the Walmart in Prosper, the Walmart in Highland Village, and 2 Walmarts in Plano, both on Ohio and Coit Road. So if you are familiar with Texas, that's pretty profound, especially for Highland Village and Prosper and that demographic and that level socioeconomic of who's living in those communities. So then for Oklahoma, our Durant Walmart outpaced the store in Norman on 12th Avenue, Stillwater on West 6th Avenue, the store in Sapulpa on West Taft Street, Broken Arrow on South Elm Place. So similarly, Durant outperformed foot traffic on the Lowe's also. And in the last 6 months, the same time frame, the Lowe's and Durant outpaced the Lowe's in the Woodlands on College Park Drive, the Lowe's in Denton on South Loop 288, the Lowe's in San Antonio, 3 in San Antonio, Bandera Road, I-35 South, and Goliad Road, the Lowe's in Amarillo, and the Lowe's in Fort Worth on Texas 183, and the Lowe's, there's a brand new Lowe's in Waxahachie on Highway 377. Foot traffic outpaced. Then in Oklahoma, Lowe's outpaced Ponca City on 14th Street, Tahlequah, and McAllister on South George Nye. And interestingly, there is a large national retailer who has always said, no, I'm not coming to Durant. It's not our market. And the data that I just gave you on the Durant Walmart, the Durant Lowe's, our restaurant spending, and then I also pulled together some other information, moved the needle for them, and they said, how can we get to Durant this year? So there's one more thing I want to tell you also. Everybody's really interested in Starbucks and how is Starbucks doing, right? So they opened on February 16th, and I measured the Durant Starbucks from that open date through November 30th of this past year, and the total visits were over 300,000 to that Durant Starbucks. And I will tell you, then I was able to go in and I wanted to know what the average ticket size is, right? Like, how are they doing as a retailer, right? Well, the low ticket size for the Durant Walmart was $11.65 on August 12th of last year. The high was on May 6th, and that was over $22, the average spend. And so I took the Durant Starbucks and I compared it against the Starbucks South 6975 through Denison, Sherman, McKinney, and Plano. And the Durant Walmart was not lower than any one of those. As a matter of fact, the Durant Starbucks, yes, thank you. And as a matter of fact, there were 3 of them that the Durant Starbucks outperformed. One of them, the Durant Starbucks outperformed by over 200,000 in the same time frame, and then 2 of them, the Durant Starbucks, outperformed by over 100,000 visits. And so I looked at that, and everybody wants to invest in an overperforming market because it lowers risk, and then you know that there's a growth pattern there, and so I thought, is this just now what's happening here in Durant? And what I want to tell you is how we tell our stories make a difference for our communities. And again, that's your role as a trustee, and how. And so thank you for telling a good story about Durant. Actually, Durant in several areas has been an overperforming market for over 20 years. And so, Durant is a great place to be, and there is a lot of good here. So, in summary on the numbers, what I want to tell you is I do think this year is going to be a great year to be in Durant, and only in quarter 1 and quarter 2 for economic development projects, including manufacturing and job creation, that I have a pretty good handle on, and I'm able to give you some details on. We're looking at over $200 million of investment in the city of Durant in these first 2 quarters, and over 60 million of that is retail, and that's new for Durant, and that's going to be really fun. And so I appreciate you, and what I would say is economic development is strategic but with concentrated cycles. And so as a board of trustees, together we're going to take the opportunity fairly soon on the first part of this year to prioritize our planning together and what our strategy will be. And when I say concentrated planning cycles, sometimes people do vision and planning and set goals for 5 years and 10 years. And what I'm learning is in economic development, yes, you can set goals like that, but that's not a strategic goal. For economic development, we're more on a 3-year cycle. And so there's a whole lot to do here in Durant. And so we look forward to that. And then after a work afternoon, we will schedule a series of weekly follow-ups. I already have several trustees saying, hey, can we talk about this? Can we tackle this? Can we do this smarter, not harder? And some of those things are, again, we've had some conversations about reevaluating our ordinance, and is there a way that we can shape that to better serve our community in this season for Durant? Our financials, which Kara and I both spoke about, our projects that we approve and how we do those things, how we move forward doing business, professional services, but also, like today, how our meetings are structured. Are we on video? Are we not on video? How can we drive participation and people to show up in a meeting and be engaged in a different way than that's happened before? And then also how we work with other groups across the community. And certainly as we pursue projects, we should be overlapping with our airport advisory board and our tourism boards and all the other places that have the same goals and even economic development in their names. And so, so together we can determine what we look like for Durant. So thank you. there any questions? All right.
Any questions? Appreciate all your work. Appreciate your enthusiasm, your leadership.
Thank you, Brett.
It's a breath of fresh air. So appreciate you, your diligence so far, diving in, and the expectations you have for trustees and our community. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Brett. I'm really excited to introduce Project SAND to you. That's information item number C. Several of you know about this, and then several of you don't. But what I would say with you is that there's been a relationship that has been developing for the city of Durant and the Industrial Authority since this summer. And things start slow sometimes, but about Christmas time, the owners of the company flew in from Los Angeles and wanted to visit for a day, and so they are interested in moving manufacturing to Durant, and then the second part of that is they would onshore another portion of their manufacturing to Durant. And the first project is somewhere between 30 and 50 or 60 million dollars of investment, and the second part of that, onshoring from another country, will be somewhere along the lines of 70 to 100 million dollar investment. Overall, the two manufacturing parties would function out of the same facility or ancillary, and then there's a third supply chain investment that this company is intending to invest in the region. And if secured, it would be very good for Southeast Oklahoma, and it would also benefit one of our top producing manufacturers in Durant. So if that doesn't work, the third, they've got two sites in Oklahoma that they're looking at. The third option would be Texas. And so that third portion is not Durant, but it will be determined on if this project happens to happen here in Durant. So I want to assure you that the Durant Industrial Authority has been moving forward with due diligence in regard to this project proposal. One of our bank trustees, Trustee Kuykendall, and her partner Jeff Monroe at Vision Bank has verified the credentials of the owner, of the brokers, and of the guarantor. And we have received and have been able to evaluate 3 years worth of financials, and the project appears solid in this first phase of discovery. So in addition, at this point right now, we have submitted the project to the Oklahoma Department of Commerce, and their incentive package is variable dependent, and it's over a 5 to 10 year time frame. But depending on that, the range is somewhere right now between $30 and $40 million. And so this project has not gone before you yet, nor has it gone before any other entity for any additional incentive consideration or review, because I would suspect that those boards would prioritize infrastructure as part of the incentive evaluation, which of course would be location dependent. And so that's what I'm going to tell you about next, is that the company needs over 1 million square feet of manufacturing, and there's one building in the city of Durant right now that could be available for that project. And so what I can assure you is that that you and I and the city and all of our other boards, we care about Durant. We see what's happening and we pay attention. So at the same time that we've had this project engage with Durant, saying we want to get to know you better and we would like to invest in your community, the owners of that business and that property reached out to me via the Industrial Authority saying, hey, can we just get to know each other, and can we connect over the next couple of weeks, because we care about Durant. We don't know what's going to happen, but regardless of what happens, we want to have a stronger relationship, and we want to have that relationship in case a scenario happens that would not be favorable or that we would not all choose. And so So in the meantime, what I can share with you is that the owner of the project interested in Durant, once we received the assurances from Vision Bank about first pass, here's where they were, then we took a letter of intent for the facility, and I passed that over to the company. And so we've made an introduction between the business and the broker for that building. But here's what I would tell you, and I would tell everybody in public also, is that we can do all of our homework and we can show up and be excellent, but it's economic development, and at the end of the day, we don't choose, they choose. And so that's where we are on that location, and that's the preference for the business. A second location would be, the second option would be land acquisition, and that might be something that we consider, and then the industrial authority becomes a part of. I will tell you that our competitor is the state of Louisiana, and they have a full team working that project, and incentives have been offered there. But like other things across our country, as soon as the election happens, some politics made some things go sideways. If we were to have this project in Durant, we continue with our due diligence, and at each phase, it's a solid project. It would be the first in the nation for this particular manufacturing. And so the state of Georgia and the state of Ohio have tried to do this, and again, because of the election, things have kind of gone sideways. So it's good that there's interest, and there's been some solid movement forward. And so I appreciate all of you following up on the distribution center and your concern and your thoughts. And I appreciate those of you who have come alongside and supported the project development and vetting whether or not this would be a good project for Durant. So any questions about Project Sand? Right. All right. Information item D, I have an update for you on our litigation with SG Blocks. So I'm going to read to you a statement from Ken Williams, who is our attorney. So from the outset, Ken Williams discussed the possibility with us that the defendants might try to remove the county court proceeding to the United States District Court for the Eastern District of Oklahoma. In fact, certain of the defendants did and have filed the initial pleadings necessary to attempt to commence to remove the case as predicted. After defendants SG Blocks, Inc., Safe and Green Holdings Corp., and SG Echo file their respective disclosure statements in the federal court, we will know whether the removal will be successful. We anticipate that the removal will be successful. With regard to what will occur next in the federal court case, our counsel anticipates that at least some of the defendants will attempt to obtain dismissal from the case through a motion to dismiss. Most of the defendants will be required to file answers to the DIA's complaints. Those answers will provide insight into the types of defenses that will be asserted, and then our counsel will evaluate those answers filed by the defendants and provide analysis of the defenses. Any questions?
If it's moved to federal, will we have to seek additional counsel, or this counsel can handle that process?
No, this counsel is prepared to handle that process.
Okay.
Yes.
Any other comments from the trustees?
Thank you,
Okay,
Chair.
thank you. Executive session. Is there a motion to move into executive session, discuss A and B?
Motion to move to executive session to discuss 4A, B, C, and D.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, we'll call the vote. Trustee
Yes.
Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee DeWalt?
Yes.
Trustee Kuykendall?
Yes.
Trustee Newsom?
Yes.
Trustee Simulescu?
Yes.
Doctor? Trustee Rudolph?
Yes.
And I'm a yes.
Trustee Rogers.
We'll be back.
I'm not leaving, sorry. Getting cold.
in executive?
They are.
Okay. Y'all maybe feel like you can't do anything about that, but, okay, well, that's what I checked, and I thought you said you were gonna do this meeting. Yeah. Okay, bye-bye. Thank you.
Trying to reinvent the wheel on some things. Oh, yeah. Well, with our, cause we obviously need a preliminary plan. It's got its purpose. But the part that bugs me is the person can build.
Entertain a motion to return from executive session.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion a second, no comments. Vote. Tucker?
Yes.
DeWalt? Kuykendall?
Yes.
Newsom?
Yes.
Simoski?
Yes.
Rudolph?
Yes.
Rogers, yes. Returning from executive session, there's no action on 4. Number 5, any new business from the trustees?
No.
Hearing none, I'll seek a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
And a second. Tucker?
Yes.
DeWalt? Kuykendall? Newsom?
Yes.
Simoski?
Yes.
Rudolph? Rogers, yes. We're adjourned. Thank you, guys.